What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of The Dead Don't Die. Hey, before you watch this review, please subscribe to my channel and press that like button and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you would like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. I had watched writer-director Jim Jarmusch's movies over the years, and I'm sure you can agree when I say that even though many of those Jarmusch's movies in the past were peculiar, none of them actually really rose up to the level of hilarity that you see here in this latest movie. I am comfortable enough to declare that The Dead Don't Die is the funniest, most gut-busting comedy horror movie since Shaun of the Dead. The story is set in the peaceful small town USA of Centerville, where Sheriff Cliff Robertson, played by Bill Murray, and his deputy Ronnie Peterson, played by Adam Driver, start to notice that the day is becoming stranger than usual. Even the sun doesn't set at its usual time. There's definitely nothing routine about this, because soon enough, the townsfolk find themselves in a battle against zombies as the dead keep rising from their graves, featuring an all-star cast that also includes Tilda Swinton, Chloe Sevigny, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, Caleb Landry Jones, Rosie Perez, Iggy Pop, RZA, Selena Gomez, Carol Kane, and Tom Waits. Okay, let me put it this way. The brand of humor in The Dead Don't Die is similar to the one you've seen in movies by Wes Anderson or the Coen brothers or even Jared Hess, that dude who gave us Napoleon Dynamite. So basically, The Dead Don't Die relies on absurdity after absurdity after absurdity and characters being in way over their heads, baffled by what they clearly are not prepared for. So if you consider that type of comedy to be funny, and I for one do, you are gonna fit just fine watching The Dead Don't Die. But for reals though, this is so unlike the stories that Jim Jarmusch had crafted before. Either that or I probably just never really paid full attention then. But it seems that with The Dead Don't Die, Jim Jarmusch just wants to let loose without having to worry so much about certain details or what people might think about it. This feels like the work of a guy who just wants to give his one-time and eternal contribution to the zombie genre just for the bragging right of being able to say, been there, done that. There are a couple of things that keep popping up or being frequently mentioned throughout this film. One of them is that many of the characters seem obsessed with that brand new Dead Don't Die song by musician Sturgill Simpson. The movie made it seem like it's a song that's been around for years, like it's some kind of folk country classic. But it's actually a spooky new song that Sturgill Simpson wrote specifically for this film. And the other one is that this movie keeps stating that polar fracking may have something to do with it. Now, I highly doubt that Jim Jarmusch went into this with the purpose of making an environmental statement, but he probably figured, of all the ridiculous possible root causes for a zombie apocalypse, why not just go for the most far-fetched one that audiences usually don't expect, like fracking? Because hell, we already have a president who stupidly believes that windmill turbine can cause cancer anyway. By the way, this film pays an incredible amount of homage to the legacy of the late great George A. Romero, and that is a totally awesome fan service. And the zombies featured here are pretty old school and old-fashioned as far as their looks and behaviors go, in that they do not deviate from the standard parameters or the usual ground rules that come with the undead. The story doesn't have much complexity to its arc, and usually that would irritate me, but in this case, I don't mind that at all, because as I implied earlier, this is just Jim Jarmusch enjoying himself, like a kid in a candy store. Speaking of which, Adam Driver's character, Ronnie, seems to be the one that's having the most fun out of the bunch. His face would not show it, but it's obvious that he's one of those guys who is excited to finally get the opportunity to act out some of the stuff that he's seen in movies, including chopping a zombie's head off with a big machete from an open window of a moving vehicle. Jim Jarmusch gathered together many of his usual muses or go-to actors whom he had collaborated with. Folks like Bill Murray and Chloe Sevigny and Tilda Swinton, who are always game for whatever eccentricity that Jim's script throws their way. In conclusion, I think this is the type of film that not a lot of people would immediately like from their first viewing of it, but over time, it might end up being appreciated as a cult classic because The Dead Don't Die doesn't feel obligated to explain itself to you or me or anybody as to why it is so damn proud of being weird.